Good morning. So currently I'm in the process of making my morning coffee. And I am excited today because the sun is finally out. It's still cold out, but I'm just happy to not see rain for a little bit. So that's nice. And it's also my day off, so I can relax. I do have to do taxes, but outside of that, not a lot of stress today. And it's chest day too. So we're gonna have a little bit of fun today. At least I hope we're gonna have some fun today. Don't know how long taxes are gonna take. Probably a little bit, I expect. But I'm not too concerned about that. There we go. I had added my cocoa powder. And like I said, it's chest day. Gonna do taxes. Get that all taken care of. Maybe go to a movie. It's Discount Tuesday, so I can see if anything cool is playing right now. If there's anything that piques my interest, I don't know. I might see a Working Man. Don't know yet. I like the Beekeeper a lot, so I might like this. And probably come and play some more Quake, because I've been playing that a lot. Getting myself excited for Doom the Dark Ages. And yeah, that's going to be my day. Let's get into it. One thing I was thinking about while working out today was burnout again. Yeah, I was feeling kind of burnt out today, and some of that comes from work being very, very, very heavy these last couple of weeks, and trying to pull this off while also going to acting class and all that fun jazz put together into one thing. That was kind of overwhelming me for a little bit, even at the start of the workout when I was doing the cardio. 15 minutes on the step mill, got a lot of calories burned, surprisingly. And while I was doing that, I just couldn't help but shake the feeling of just feeling exhausted about everything. Now, keep in mind, as the workout session went on, I started to get over it, to put it lightly. I started feeling my natural self again. After a while, just the pump really took over. I started feeling really good. Maybe it's because it was chest day, and just you can never have a bad day during chest day unless you hurt yourself while working out, obviously. But just getting into the zone of making sure I always got the pump. And yeah, there were times where I'm just always thinking like, can I get a good shot here, or can I get a good angle here? Things like that did get to me a little bit. But outside of that, though, once I was there in the zone, training, and just focusing on that, I started feeling good again. And that's really what it comes down to. It's just getting into that good headspace. And sometimes it's easier said than done. When life is overwhelming, it's hard for almost anyone to shake that feeling, and stress kicks in, burnout kicks in, all of it just, it's all at once, and it feels pretty unfair. But to be able to push past that wall is what it's all about. And once I pushed past the wall, or walked through the fire and flames to carry on, I felt good. This was a great workout. Like I said, at the beginning, I wasn't really feeling myself, but just finally being able to focus, thinking, I'm not at work right now. I don't have to deal with it. It's not my problem right now. It's just training. I felt good again. When I see progress, I feel good. When I know I'm pushing myself to progress, I feel good. Some days that's easier said than done. But today, here I had it. Back home from the gym. Now, I'm not done with my day yet, but this is just kind of the post-workout wrap-up. And one thing I was actually thinking about was, what is a life goal? Obviously, I have my year goals and things like that, but one life goal that I have is I want my own home gym. Now, obviously, I'm renting an apartment, so a home gym can't really happen here. But I want a gym that is just exclusively mine, and the only people that are allowed into it are people that I know. Of course, a lot of that would help with recording and things like that. And I think Sam Sulek has been a huge inspiration to me this year. Like, him doing his first competition and winning made me go, I want to try this again. And seeing his video about his new home gym, I don't know if it's actually a part of his home. I know he still has to drive there, but having his own private gym, that would be awesome to have. Post-workout decaf mocha. But that'd just be really cool. I don't have to worry about getting the low angles because I don't want to accidentally record someone. I don't have to worry about equipment being used. It's just mine. And really, that would be a dream come true. And the one thing that's important about goals is that if you have a goal, how do you get that? How do you achieve it? So obviously having a home gym is expensive, and having a home in and of itself is also expensive. But I don't like excuses. I like results. Now, I'm not going to get that home gym tomorrow. I'm not going to get a home tomorrow. But doesn't mean not within the next couple of years, maybe. Having my own place to work out and train. And also, one huge thing is that I'm 100% in control of the music. Now, I'm already in control of the music, I have my headphones, things like that. But I don't have to have that where it's like two sounds mixing into one thing, and this lighting is making me look like a villain. I'm in my Lost Boys cosplay. I'm even wearing my Lost Boys t-shirt, mind you. Like I said, it's my favorite movie. But I don't have to worry about hearing music that is almost like breaking through my headphones, and I'm hearing that more than I'm hearing my headphones, and I have to turn this up to almost max volume to just hear that. That'd just be awesome to have for myself. Or even having a stereo at my own gym. But like I said, this is a life goal, not a year goal. So taking steps to get there, having my own home gym where it's just my stuff, people I want to work out with can come whenever they want, or not whenever they want, whenever I invite them to come. That would just be epic. I think everyone wants that. I think people like their privacy too. And if everyone could afford their home gym, everyone I think would just do that. Even though there is a social element of a public gym, I would just like to train on my own. That'd be awesome. But anyways, still got work to do today. Gonna go to the store, get some apples, might run out to something else. I'm not sure yet. Like I said, I might go see a movie. That's a heavy might. There's not really a lot playing right now. I mean, it's nothing I'm interested in, nothing bad, just nothing I have a real interest to run out and see. But who knows, I might. Anyways, I'll catch you guys a little bit later. Peace. So I wanted to get out of the apartment for a little bit, walk around. Yes, I changed my jacket. And so I decided, why not go to GameStop? I haven't been here in months, so might as well see if they have anything. I know they started holding retro games again, or at least retro in terms of calling PS3 retro, which is wild. But let's go inside and check to see if they have anything fun. So this is one of my local GameStops. It's actually pretty chill. I like this GameStop a lot as I walk my way into it. And I was correct. They do have PS3 games here. Not a lot, but they do have a good selection. And the one that stood out to me was the Ratchet and Clank selection, or collection, sorry. But for that price, I don't know if I can justify that right now, but maybe another day, if they still have it. So as much as I would have loved to have that Ratchet and Clank collection, that price is still just a little too high. But I did get Scarlet Nexus for essentially free because I didn't realize I got a $5 off monthly coupon. And I also got a Game Informer with Sonic the Hedgehog on the cover, which I'm obviously not going to read, but it'd make a cool little mini poster. So that's what I got. And let's go to the grocery store and get some kombucha and apples. Catch you guys in a bit. But anyway, I went to the store. I was going to go to Aldi, but they were closed. So I went to a place called Giant. And they have a pretty good supplements section here. I mean, I think a lot of places are starting to get supplements. And the prices are a little jacked up, but you can find a good deal. And the one I found was actually on the collagen powder they had. And I had to pick that up. I have their rewards card. I also needed some aftershave, so I couldn't forget that. They also had my favorite tortillas, the Carb Balance one, at a good price too, not gonna lie. And then I had to go find the kombucha like I intended, even though I forgot to grab apples today. These kombuchas were 3 for 6, which is a great price because they're normally much more expensive, so can't forget that. This place can get a little pricey every now and again, but this is where you find the obscure stuff, really. I'm home. And to have a little bit more fun tonight, I want to talk about one of my favorite movie production companies known as Troma Entertainment. Yes, Troma Entertainment, the Troma Entertainment, hosted or founded by Lloyd Kaufman and Mike Hertz. Now, Troma is one of those production companies where not very family friendly, but they make movies of the future, and it's true. Their movies are so much fun. I love Troma so much. Even if you go into a lower quality Troma movie, odds are you know exactly what you're getting into and you're going to have fun with it anyway. But there's just so many great Troma films that it's hard to talk about sometimes. This still isn't empty. But what are some good Troma films? There's Toxic Avenger, Terror from Our Masterpiece, Class of Nukem High, even ones that they didn't make. I love Redneck Zombies. That's like a shot on video horror film, and I thought it was awesome. But my absolute favorite Troma film is Poultrygeist Night of the Chicken Dead. I love it so much I had to get the collector's edition, and it's numbered, so I have a limited edition product here, and I love this movie. This has one of the best behind the scenes documentaries you'll ever watch. It's called Poultry in Motion. Everything about this movie is awesome. It is an absolute gore-filled comedy. There's almost not a second of the movie where something absurd isn't happening. And when I say absurd, I mean completely bonkers. Poultrygeist is an example of filmmaking at its purest. And if you see the behind the scenes stuff, it sucked for them to make. Everything that can go wrong did go wrong. It was a nightmare, it looked like. I wasn't there for it, so obviously I didn't know. But just watching them complete this movie and then seeing what they made was awesome. And then there was an effect that was supposed to happen, and the effect completely malfunctioned at the end. And they ran with it. Sometimes that's just what you gotta do, especially with independent productions. If something goes wrong, you don't have the money or time to fix it. You just gotta improvise. And that's why Troma is awesome. There was even a documentary called Greetings from Tromaville, which is mostly just a very long interview with Lloyd Kaufman about some of the history of Troma. Pretty good documentary. I think it's on Tubi. A lot of Troma stuff is on Tubi. I remember they had all their stuff on YouTube for a while. It's not there anymore. Every now and again, someone will not legally upload one of their movies to YouTube, but I'm not concerned about that because you can also subscribe to Troma Now. It's not on like a lot of video game systems. I know they have it on Roku, but Troma Now is their streaming service where it's like all their stuff, and I think they have other stuff on there too, which is pretty cool. But again, I'm someone who prefers physical media, so if there's something Troma related that I want, I'm just going to buy the DVD and watch it that way. Especially since coming this year is the Toxic Avenger remake, which at first I was very much against, but it was made by Macon Blair. Macon Blair is an actor who is in one of my favorite movies of all time, Green Room, and apparently the movie's awesome. Apparently it's so awesome, so I'm excited for it. My best friend Tyler and I are absolutely going to see that on the big screen when it comes out. It's being released by the people who made Terrifier, by the way. I don't know how much involvement Troma actually had with it, but I know everyone's saying it's
absolutely gory. So seeing a splatter film on the big screen is going to be awesome, my friends. But if you need like an introduction into Troma, definitely like the Toxic Avenger is their most famous one, and oddly enough is like how you should like kind of get yourself into Troma if you want to get into them. And then Nukem High, like we're going up here. And then it can go between, like these are my four favorites, so that's why I'm bringing them up. Terra Firma or Poultrygeist. I think Poultrygeist is much more bonkers, and so that one might not be harder for some people to get into, but it's so cool. I do highly recommend it. But I do recommend also building up to Poultrygeist and the Chicken Dead. And they're still making movies. The Return to Nukem High films were actually pretty good. Shakespeare's Crapstorm, I can't say that title for obvious reasons, was entertaining. It took a while for it to come out from when they started making it, and I don't know if are they going to release DVD? I have to double check if they're releasing a DVD of that, because I totally would grab one day of release, because I just love Troma. I love Lloyd Kaufman. I love supporting the independent developers or filmmakers. Developers or video games, sorry. And you can see like Troma influence in a lot of stuff, like Turbo Kid, if you ever seen that, The Void, just Troma and even like Guardians of the Galaxy is partially inspired by Troma, because James Gunn got his start working with Lloyd Kaufman, working with that company. Troma is highly important, people. They're not just a bunch of schmucky independent filmmakers. They are professionals. Sure, they don't have the highest budgets in the world, but they still have a passion for filmmaking. And really, that's what I love about them. And like, again, like my love of Poultrygeist isn't just the fact that I love the movie. A lot of it comes down to watching that documentary and seeing the nightmare that was to make. And of course, if I never saw that documentary, this would still be my favorite Troma movie by far, because I just have so much fun watching it. Like my friend Tyler and I, we watch this a lot. Like I could put this on right now and have just as much fun watching it as I did the first time. That's how much I love Poultrygeist Night of the Chicken Dead. I can't stop praising this movie. This movie's just so cool. I remember a while ago, I was looking up rankings of like best Troma films, and I remember they actually put Poultrygeist at number one, even in front of the Toxic Avenger, because more often than not, the number one is either Romeo and Juliet, Toxic Avenger, or Terra Firma, which for good reason too. Those are all awesome. Romeo and Juliet, if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's such a cool movie. They're just cool. They're just fun. Like, how many production companies can you just straight up say they make movies that are cool and fun? Like, because I love A24 too, obviously, but they're more art house horror, and that's why I love A24. But if you just want a movie to get your friends together to watch something gonzo bonkers, you say, hey, I got a Troma film. Most people probably won't know what that means. Then you start showing them, and then they give you looks asking, what's the matter with you, my friend? But seriously, man, I love Troma. I wish they made more movies just straight with the production company, not just like buying rights from other films, because the true Troma are movies that are made by in-house Lloyd Kaufman. Like, obviously he can't keep making movies forever, but as long as he gives his blessing, I think that can count too. I know there was another movie that came out recently called Bring on the Damned, or Bring Out the Damned. I think that had Lloyd's blessing, but they're also working on Power of Positive Punishment, which is a movie based on Crime and Punishment. I actually auditioned for that. I obviously didn't get the role. Like, seriously, real talk, if I ever have a chance to be a lead in a Troma film, that would be like up there for me. Like, obviously Power Rangers, Starship Troopers, and Troma are my big three of what some of my goals are. Man, Troma is just so cool. Poultrygeist, man. Toxic Avenger, Terror Firmer, Class of Nukem High, Romeo and Juliet. And like I said, some of their movies they didn't make are awesome. Like Combat Shock is genuinely a disturbing movie. It's like even more nightmarish version of Jacob's Ladder. Redneck Zombies, shot on video, still really fun. And another movie that a lot of people like was Surf Nazis Must Die. I didn't love the movie. I felt as though it was like two films that kind of awkwardly collided with each other. But I know that one has a very strong cult following for decent reason. There's cool moments in there, and I will admit that. But like I said, there was a little too many moments where it's just like one plot was happening, and then they didn't know what else to do, so they added in a second plot just so that way things could happen. Which oddly enough is actually one of my favorite storytelling styles. Is there's one story happening, another story happening, and then they collide together. Like if you are like my horror novel, The Gentleman, that I'm working on, functions like that. But they just didn't feel like they connected properly for what happened. Like you'd have to see it and understand what I mean. Or maybe I just wasn't in a good mood that day, and if I watched it again, I'd be like, "Oh, Surf Nazis Must Die is awesome." I could just be wrong. But if you want to get into Troma, definitely hit me up anytime. I'll be more than happy to talk to y'all about more Troma. Troma is like, think of like John Waters, you know how he's more like absurdist in his sexual humor. Troma is like that, but with like just straight up splatter humor. Like a good double feature is a John Waters film and a Lloyd Kaufman film. Like just like if you get your roommates together one night and you're just like, hey, you want something bonkers, you get multiple maniacs, and then you get Poultrygeist, you get Pink Flamingos, and you get the Toxic Avenger. You're in for a wild night. Man, I just love Troma. They are so freaking cool. I just can't. Like, you see the smile on my face? Like, this smile, The Lost Boys gives me the smile, Starship Troopers gives me the smile, Sonic the Hedgehog gives me the smile, and you bet your Skippy, Troma gives me the smile. If you need some good movies to watch, something really fun, definitely look up some stuff from Troma. And like I said, my personal favorite will always be Poultrygeist. It's not just straight up my favorite Troma movie. It is one of my all-time favorite movies. I adore this thing. And also, like I said, if you're going to watch this, try and find a way to watch Poultry in Motion, because, like I said, that is the best, without a doubt, best behind-the-scenes documentary of a movie I have ever seen. Anyways, I got to eat some supper. I got to play some Quake, maybe Doom. I don't know. Gave myself hype for Doom the Dark Ages. And I also got to do my split drills. Damn, I forgot that. I'm going to do that too. Anyways, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.